December 1914. The Western Front, a frozen nightmare stretching hundreds of miles across Europe. Men who had been trying to kill each other for months suddenly began to sing. What happened next was something the world had never seen before. Enemies putting down their weapons, crossing the trenches and celebrating Christmas together. This is the story of the Christmas Truce. When World War I began in 1914, soldiers on both sides thought it would be over by Christmas. But as December arrived, the war had already claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Across France and Belgium, German and British forces were locked in endless trench warfare, a life of mud, rats, and fear. The men lived just yards apart, separated only by barbed wire and no man's land. Every day, artillery fire shook the ground. Yet, as Christmas approached, something unexpected began to stir, a longing for home, peace, and humanity, even among the soldiers of war. On the night of December 24th, British soldiers in the trenches near Ypres heard faint music drifting through the cold air. It was coming from the German lines. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, silent night. Slowly, the British joined in with their own version, the same melody, different language. For the first time in months, the guns were silent, just voices and hope. As dawn broke on Christmas morning, German soldiers raised signs reading, "You no shoot, we no shoot." Slowly, one by one, men from both sides emerged from their trenches, some with trembling hands, others smiling nervously. They met in the middle, no man's land, shaking hands, sharing cigarettes, chocolate, and photographs of their families. They weren't enemies anymore. For one day, they were just human beings celebrating Christmas together. Then someone brought out a football. A real game began, right there in the middle of the battlefield. British and German soldiers laughed, cheered, and forgot the war for a moment. One soldier later wrote, "It was the most extraordinary thing. The enemy we tried to kill yesterday stood before us, just like us, smiling." Others exchanged badges, food, and even sang together that night. Across the front lines, from Belgium to France, thousands took part in this unofficial truce. But peace was not meant to last. The high commands on both sides were furious when they learned of the truce. They feared it would weaken discipline, make soldiers question why they were fighting at all. Orders were sent, no fraternization with the enemy. The day after Christmas, artillery fire began again. Friends who shared gifts the night before were once again forced to aim rifles at each other. Yet something had changed. Those men would never see their enemies the same way again. The Christmas truce was never repeated on such a scale again. But its memory lived on, in letters, in stories, and in the hearts of those who witnessed it. Many soldiers later said it was the only time they truly felt the spirit of peace during the war. Decades later, artists, filmmakers, and historians would retell this moment, not as a story of war, but as a story of hope. Over 100 years have passed since that day, but the Christmas truce reminds us that even in the darkest of times, kindness and humanity can break through. In a world divided by war, these soldiers showed us the meaning of peace. This was the Christmas Truce of 1914. If this story moved you, remember to share it, because peace begins when we remember our shared humanity.